Good people, what's up? I probably should have on a sweater or something. It's cold outside. Now you go to the gym or whatever, you're still kind of hyped up. I'm sure I'm gonna get cold. Good morning, good morning. Sexy Slim in the building. I see you, Rodney. What's going on, man? Good morning, good morning. I wanted to get into this topic real quick. Get rid of this going. It's an interesting topic. The lead attorney, Kevin Samuels, Tasha K, Nicki Minaj. So I got an opportunity to see a few videos in regards to the lead attorney and also Kevin Samuels. One was kind of well, I'll just break them down. I'll break them down slowly. Okay, so we'll start with the lead attorney. So there was one content creator, and I don't want to. This is not like taking shots or whatever case may be. So I just really want to talk this out or whatever. So I'm gonna paraphrase some things or whatever, but I think I'm gonna do a good job at it. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. So it was a content creator that was saying that they felt like the lead attorney was a scammer. They questioned his law degree. And then they said they gave him the benefit of the doubt. Well, you may be a lawyer, but you're not a criminal lawyer, so how can you talk about Tasha K? She went on to say that she felt like the lead attorney was against black women, had a small penis, and she went on and on and on and on and on. And here's my thought process, because she started out with this whole narrative of, she's not a subscriber to Tasha K. And it's not about Tasha K, it's about what, I'm saying, these black men are doing to black women. And this is my issue when we have these type of conversations. Good morning, good morning. This is my issue when we have these type of conversations. It's all like the narrative of there are black men against black women and black women against black men. Now, is that happening? Yes. Is there some mess and drama and some craziness going on? Yes. But I just don't, when it comes to the lead attorney, I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. So here's my thought process. And I really want to help some content creators out, because I want to give them another perspective. Because once you go live, that's it. Once you go live and you start putting your perspective, because your perspective is supposed to be your thought process. It's supposed to be how you think. And I'm like, I wonder, did they rewind this, or did they have somebody else look at what it is that they're saying? Because to me, it just seems like out there. It just seems like a real reach. The lead attorney. Now, for some reason, people feel like when something is a serious hot topic, if you talk about it, they call it clout chasing, they call it this, they call it that. Now, most of the content creators, especially if they're a black content creator, they were talking about Tasha K, right? Good morning, good morning. They were talking about the Tasha K incident. They were talking about between Cardi B and Tasha K. They were covering it. They were talking about it, etc., etc. The lead attorney, I wouldn't say he spearheaded the charge, but of course, because Tasha K and the lead attorney had some prior back and forth, the lead attorney, rightfully so, was like, okay, well, hey, as an attorney, I can speak on this. Now, the other content creator that I'm speaking about, she decided to say that, the lead attorney, he doesn't have the know-how to be able to speak on this case because he's a family lawyer. And I was like, I wonder, does she know how this whole law school thing works? Like, I wonder, does she know how this law school thing works? So I just wanted to chime in, tag me in, right? So before you get your specialty, all right, there are general things called the bar. It's a general thing called the bar exam. All lawyers have to pass that. right? So it teaches you, it basically breaks down law in all different types of facets or whatever case may be. After you pass the bar, you go into your specialty. Now here's the thought process. And I want to give you guys an analogy that everybody can probably understand. If me and you are on the same football team, I'm a running back and you the quarterback. At some point in time, we're going to talk about our position. You're going to talk about your position as the quarterback. I'm going to talk about my position as the running back. But just because I don't play your position don't mean I don't know about your position. So when she said, well, you're a family lawyer, you only deal with family law. Well, he knows the basics principles of law. And I'm sure that he has someone that's a criminal defense attorney or prosecutor that he can reach out to and get the details. So it was kind of like the argument that they were making was like, I don't understand. It's like we do a good job for some reason. When people promote their credentials, we try to discredit them. And I noticed that the people that try to discredit people that have credentials don't have credentials. No shade. But I noticed that a lot of people on social media, it's like, well, we're going to question your credentials. But then when you get to them, they never talk about their credentials. They never talk about their education. Right? That's like, okay, well, let me throw shade. Let me do something to try to nitpick on why I think that either you're not successful or you're not doing what you're supposed to do. She mentioned how long he stays on his live. Now, we all know about the algorithm. I don't care if you're a subscriber or you're a content creator. We all know the longer you stay on, the longer your watch time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we all know that. So as a content creator, it baffles me when people say, well, you stay on the live for 16 hours. I don't see as a lawyer how you can do that. Well, it's called scheduling. When you're an entrepreneur, and even if you were an employee, it's called scheduling. I go to work from 9 to 5. Okay, I'm going to go live in the morning from 9 to 12 every day. And then after that, I'm going to do whatever I need to do. So whether that's being a lawyer, whether that's being a trash man, whether that's being a school teacher, I'm a schedule time for me to go do that. So I don't get it when content creators be like, the lead attorney stays online for 5 hours. Well, if he schedules that time, then he can do it. Y'all let me know. When you schedule time to go to the gym, you schedule time to go to yoga, you schedule time to go do whatever hobby you do, if he's saying, hey, you know, YouTube's my hobby, and I'm making time to do my hobby, I don't understand why that takes away from him being a successful lawyer. Come get this commentary. What's going on? Miss Lady in the building. I rise. What's going on? K Cole, what's going on with you? I'm hoping that you guys can understand and rock out with me a little bit, because I felt like, oh, this heat warmer. Woo. Hold on. Wait a minute. My buns is warming up. Hold on. God. Hold on. I'm hoping that you guys can understand where I'm coming from. And again, this is not like pinpointing no content creators out. This is just trying to give you guys some perspective out there, because I'm like, are they hearing themselves speak? Like, because the thought process seems to be a little bit off to me. It's like, you know, and it was kind of like she was kind of trying to pit the lead attorney against black women. And I'm just like, man, listen, let me tell you something. This, for some reason, we tend to do this to ourselves. It's like anytime somebody says something we don't want to hear, we have this narrative of, we kind of try to ostracize you, or we try to do things like we question your sexuality. She even said like the lead attorney had a small penis, and I was just scratching my head. I was like, unless you want to have sex with this man, why does his penis matter? Unless he didn't turn you, like you didn't try to reach out to him and he didn't shut your ass down, why does it matter? And it's like, when you do those things, you take away from your argument. You listen, ladies and gentlemen, when you do certain things like that, you take away from your argument. I'm here for it. Okay, I'm listening to the conversation, right? Okay, cool. The lead attorney is bashing black women, attacking black women. She don't even like black women. Okay, cool. Let me listen to your argument. And I start to listen to your argument, and you say things like, and he got a small penis. What does that got to do with what he doing wrong? And he don't like black women. Okay. What is, besides for him pointing out certain things about Tasha K's case, why would you ordain that to be he don't like black women? I think we just be throwing things out there to try to promote a narrative and promote rhetoric. And that's why I said I wish, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. These are the type of things that I wish YouTube would crack down on. And because I think that we're in violation of our freedom of speech. We're in violation of our First Amendment. We're in violation of fair use, because it's just like we throw anything out there to try to promote a narrative for what? Just irresponsible. To me, it's irresponsible. It's no need to do the things that we're doing, but we do it anyway. Now, this is not to be like, oh, lead attorney. Oh, no, this is just to be realistic. It's like, well, my thing is like, if I'm a lawyer, I should be able to break down a case. And if I'm just a family lawyer, I should be able to call a friend up that's a criminal lawyer. I can almost guarantee that this man has access to more lawyers than a lot of these content creators. But this is my thought process, and this is the problem that I have with a lot of us as people. We fail to have credentials. We fail to have credentials. Anybody can get online and start talking about X, Y, and Z with no credentials, with no education, with no common sense, and just start talking, and that's supposed to be the check mark. And my thought process is, if you're gonna go against the man, well, here's the thing: if you're questioning his credentials, then show me your credentials. So that way we can have a basis. We can say, okay, well, okay, this is a lawyer, this is an astronaut. This is a lawyer, this is a doctor. This is a lawyer, this is somebody successful. Other than a YouTuber saying, well, you can't be a successful lawyer. Well, are you a successful? Y'all get what I'm saying? It's just like, Miss Lady, I hear you. This is not to me, this is not a part of, this is not about the manosphere. It's not about the womansphere. This is just, we're talking about credentials right now. We're talking about credentials. To me, if I'm going to say, well, let me question this lawyer, my thought process is, well, you have to showcase your credentials as well. Isn't that fair? That's fair. So that way you know, okay, let's balance your perspective of why. And why you're saying the things that you're saying. Because if you don't do that, it comes across as just being vindictive. It comes across as just being bitter. It comes across as just clout chasing. It comes across as just being somebody just, oh, well, my opinion, let me just throw my opinion out there. Well, it's about Rise says you can call yourself anyone and be anyone on YouTube. I get you. From my understanding, he's a real lawyer. I didn't see 2 major content creators say, hey, this guy's a lawyer, or whatever case may be. And I'm thinking that they check the facts on it or whatever. But again, this is about credentialing. If you say I am X, Y, and Z, and for some reason, me as ToughLove, I say, okay, let's say the lead attorney. I say something like, well, I don't think you a successful lawyer. Okay, cool. So who are you again? But besides being a YouTuber, who are you again? Because here's the thing, being a lawyer, that's something outside of YouTube. That's an accomplishment and accolade outside of YouTube. So besides being a content creator, who are you outside of YouTube? So that way we can get some perspective on where you're coming from. But a lot of these people, I'm gonna be honest with you, it just seems like you call out the people with credentials, but you fail to showcase your credentials. And then as black people, we sit back and listen like, yeah. Yeah, but we never ask the person that's doing the calling out, well, what are your credentials? What's your track record? Who are you? Now, as a content creator, cool, we all got our perspectives, we all get our life experience, you know, our different levels of common sense, but we're talking credentials. We're talking about real life accolades. So if I'm gonna say, oh, let me call out this judge or this lawyer or this policeman or this person, well, isn't it fair if I'm gonna call you out, you know my credentials? Isn't it fair that you know my credentials, so you know where I stand, you know where I'm getting my points of reference from, you know my track record? And I just feel like a lot of people who say these things, it's like they be coming from so many different directions and just reaching. And I just be like, the only reason you're reaching is because you really have nothing. And then as soon as you start saying, and I don't know why this is the go-to, especially in our community, it's like, well, if I don't agree with you, if I don't agree with your talking points, I automatically gonna call you gay. If I don't agree with your talk, and see, I said this before, and I actually had a guy that was he was part of the LGBTQ plus community, and he reached out to me and he said, you know what, it's interesting to me how when people get mad, the first thing they want to say to the other person is you're gay. And I said, you know what? I said, you're exactly right, because I noticed that. That's the go-to. That's the punchline or whatever case may be. So I'm going to insult you by saying you gay, right? I'm going to insult you by saying you got a small penis. I'm going to say that you're attacking all black women. And I was just like, I don't even get that energy. I don't get that energy from the leader. And I'm not a part of the manosphere. But the fact that I don't get the energy that he hates black women. So when you put that out into the air like that, into the airways, to me it's like, well, show us proof. Put the proof inside your video that you're talking about. Don't just use one person, because my thought process is, to be honest with you, and I've said before, Tasha K, salute for a lot of great interviews. I didn't agree with everything that happened between you and Cardi B. I thought you lying about the STD, definitely over the top, unnecessary, unneeded. But you can't say that the man hates all black women because he had some videos made on Tasha K. I don't get that part. I guess I'm kind of lost on that part. Amazing thoughts to interest some. Quite often, smaller is better than extra large. Mindset, personality is important. I hear you. I heard he's an attorney, just not as big as the lead. I got you. I'm not here to defend if he the lead attorney, the back attorney, the middle attorney, the front. I'm talking about credentials. At the end of the day, if his credentials is he's an attorney off of YouTube, and he comes to YouTube for whatever reason and say, hell, we got a whole lot of people who come to YouTube and say, okay, well, I used to do X, Y, and Z, right? So at least they're putting their credentials out so that way you and I can know, okay, this is their credentials. Okay, got it. But my thought process is, if we're going to call them out, isn't it fair for us to say these are our credentials? But I noticed that a lot of the people that's doing the calling out and pointing out have no credentials. They say nothing about their credentials. So it's shocking to me. It's like, well, if you have no credentials, so let me get this straight. The person that studied and decided that they were going to either go to law school, go to college, do something. The person that decided to do something, we supposed to tear down or rip down because the person that's lazy and decided not to do anything with their life and have no credentials, that's who we should be siding with. Uncle Stu, I'm about to piss somebody off. Uncle Stu says, no, he does not hate black women. He loves black women. He gives Tasha K her credit, right? Her credit on an interview with women accusing her ex-boyfriend of violating her son. I was gonna get to that, Uncle Stu. I definitely was gonna get to that. I just feel like when we do these narratives and we put these allegations on men and women, I just be like, dude, why we do that to each other? Why we do that to each other? Now, I'm not gonna lie, because I'll be like, I sit back and I watch videos, certain videos or whatever case may be. Like I've made videos about Cynthia G in the past or whatever case may be, and people like, Cynthia G don't hate black men, she want black men to do better. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but you know, but I do that in a way that at least she knows my credentials. At least she knows where I'm coming from and why I'm saying this. But to just be like, in a crowd of people throwing rocks and stones, yelling out, you hate black women. You know, like, step forward. hey, what are your credentials? So that way I know who I'm talking to, who I'm speaking with. And some people might say, well, that's just a fellow content creator. Well, here's the thought process. If you start saying he's not a real lawyer, I don't know if that's for me or whatever, Miss Lady. And she said, how are you comparing a YouTuber to an attorney? Well, that's what the video about. What are your credentials? What are your credentials? You can't compare it. That's what I'm saying. You can't compare it. That's why I said, what are your, besides being on YouTube, we all on YouTube, right? What are your credentials? Which is what I'm saying. What is your profession besides YouTube? If it's just on YouTube to be like, okay, everybody with credentials, I'm here to point them out. Okay, cool. Besides YouTube, what do you have going on? What are your real life accolades? Do you hold any type of degrees? Are you an entrepreneur? No, do you work for a Fortune 500 company? And the thought process is when people bring their resume to the table, it's like I see people with no resume that has the most to say. I'm hoping that you're getting what I'm putting down, Miss Lady. You understand what I'm saying? With no, you have no resume. So we both walk into the job interview. They say, "Oh, can I see your resume?" Well, I ain't got no resume, but they got a resume. Yeah, look, they think they got a resume. So you don't need no resume. You do need a resume. To have the conversation, to be in the room, to sit at the table, you need a resume. What's your resume? And then this is the thought. I noticed that the people with the most to say about people with a resume have no resume, have no credentials. Uncle Stu says most lawyers do not make as much money as people think they do. Question to ask: what is the result of their life? Here's a better question, Uncle Stu. Here's a better question. Why would you think that because a person is a lawyer, they can't be on YouTube? Like I've heard other content creators said in the past, like you can't be a successful lawyer YouTube. And my thought process is, well, let's say the lead attorney, which I don't know, let's say he owns his own practice and he sets his own hours. So that means, hey, I'm only taking clients after 1 o'clock. So that means that my whole morning is free now to do what I need to do. But it's like we just say things, and I think personally, when you have credentials, you normally don't say things. Here's the thing. There was a guy. He said he was a life coach or whatever, right? And he went on this other Kendra G's platform, and I already kind of talked to him or whatever case may be. And he went on Kendra G's platform, and Kendra G asked him, "What are your credentials to be a life coach?" Well, you know, in so many words, he said, I'm a self-ordained, I'm a self-proclaimed life coach. And she said, you don't have any credentials? You literally can take a 30-day class and be a life coach. So you're giving advice with no credentials. And I felt embarrassed for him. And I reached out to him or whatever. I said, bro, listen, it's all great to, you know, talk from life experience and all that good stuff or whatever, but it's a 30-day class. It's a 30-day class, bro. You know that you sitting here and you talking to people. And this is why black people have an issue with trusting black people. Because for some reason, we try to jimmy rig or bypass the things that we need to be certified in whatever fields that we in. And then when people take the time to go get those things, the next call to do is now, well, let me bring this person down to my level. Well, your level is lazy as shit. Your level is not trying. Your level is not achieving whatever it is that you wanted to achieve in life. So you sitting around hating. Because anybody with credentials, if I'm talking to you, hey, I'm such and such. Here's my resume. But see, that's the problem. Us as a black community, we don't ask for resumes. Rise says, or proven results in his own life. But yet he's an influencer. YouTube is sickening. Every black person on YouTube goes at and nitpick over other black people on YouTube. So in my opinion, nobody is really helping, just pointing at another black person. You don't need credentials to have influence. You don't need credentials to have influence. You don't. But for some reason, the guy being a lawyer is like super, like the thought process was with the content creators that I'm talking about was that he cannot be a successful lawyer if he's on YouTube. And I'm like, well, unless you're a lawyer, how would you know? Those people that are entrepreneurs understand you set your own schedule. If I don't want to go to work today, I don't go to work today. If I don't want to clock in, I don't clock in. You understand what I'm saying? And I clock out when I want to clock out. And if you got employees, hey, boss not coming in, y'all handle it. So that's why I said some of the conversations that I've been seeing about the lead attorney, I'm like, well, unless you're an attorney, how do you know he's not successful outside of YouTube? I'm just saying. I mean, I just want to provide some perspective because I'm just like, well, you know, if I'm gonna call out, like, let's just say if I'm gonna call out the lead attorney, I'm not just gonna be like, well, as another content creator, I'm gonna call you out and say you're not successful and you're not this. And then the thought process is, okay, well, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? What do you do? You know, what's your resume? And I really think that if he really took the time to be like, you know, profession, it can't be selling sunflower seeds on you know, in a parking lot. You know, it has to be more than that. You understand what I'm saying? It has to be more than that. And I think a lot of people who lack credentials, you know what I'm saying, they lack the know-how to actually have the conversation. It's like if you feel like the lead attorney is against black women, well, prove that argument. Proving that argument has nothing to do with his penis. Proving that argument has nothing to do with how long he stays online. Proving that argument has nothing to do with him being a lawyer. What is he doing to prove that he hates black women? If you're going to make that statement, if you're going to have that argument, but for some reason, we don't hold nobody accountable for nothing and we can just say whatever. And that's why I wish YouTube would crack, I wish social media period would crack down on this stuff. Marcus G says, bro, you must be blind. You can't deny that black men have created a toxic culture on YouTube. Black men, we have a whole sector that does nothing but talk about black women 24/7. And as a, damn it, it's flipped off. As a black man, it's embarrassing. I'm just saying. Marcus G, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. This conversation is not about the manosphere. And I'm not denying these things exist. I even said it earlier. I don't know when you came in. I even said it earlier. You know what I'm saying? I even said it earlier. This is not about, this is about credentials. This is about credentials. If we're going to question other people's credentials, is it right and fair for us to say, well, these are my credentials? And we're going to say your resume ain't adding up. Is it fair to say, well, here's my resume. Let me present what I've done, which is what this is about. For the most part. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Now we do have some representation in here from the manosphere, you know, Uncle Stu, you know, so if you guys want to chop it up, you have it, you know, chop it up or whatever. But yeah, I think that we all, you know what I'm saying, need to have a level of respect for one another. And we all need to look at the situation and say, man, what are we doing to add to the nonsense? Are we assets? Are we liabilities? And I think that when we talk about, you know, the lead attorney, let's just say he is a bona fide attorney. You have access to an attorney. I'm gonna be honest with you. There are some people that can't afford an attorney. So if he's giving out advice, and let's just say it is family law. So if he's giving advice about child support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know what I'm saying? Then hell, that's free advice for you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I know I'm missing some comments. I don't even know where to start at. Okay, I'll start back at the Marcus G and I'll go down. A lot of people aren't going to college to secure a future like Previous generation. Yeah, listen. College ain't for everybody. Let's just get right into it. College is not for everybody, just like the military ain't for everybody, just like being a policeman ain't for everybody, being a firefighter ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody. We know that there are successful people who don't go to college. I'm not saying that. But because you don't go to college don't mean you don't have a resume. Don't mean you don't have credentials. And I think, and this is the problem that we have with the conversation. This is the we have with the conversation, right? We're so focused on the full bottle of water, we never say, well, what about the empty bottle? Well, we ain't worried about the empty bottle because it's full. We got a full one, so we're not gonna worry about it. Well, here's the thought process. If we take college degree out the way, right? We know as grown-ups that there are other things you can do to be successful in life. So my thought process is, why are the people that saying, well, I'm calling you out, lead attorney, why are they not promoting what it is that they've done? If you say he ain't no real attorney, okay, cool. What are you besides a YouTuber? Mom and dad is great. Great. Moms and dads. Yep. Boyfriends and girlfriends. Yep. But I'm just saying there's other things that go along with it to say, okay, based on a person's experience, right? You can tell a lot about the person because you can tell where they've come from. You can tell what type of organizations they belong to. When you don't have that knowledge, then that's just somebody that's, you don't know. They're a mystery. And a lot of people remain a mystery because when you get down to the conversation, well, what do you really do? What have you done? They have no resume. They have no resume. Well, I sit at home all day and I smoke weed and I drink beer and I play games and shit. The lead attorney, a lawyer. Got to do better. We talk about doing better. I see a lot of people saying, you know, we need to do better, and I agree with you. I agree with you. But the thought process is, if someone takes the time to go to school and say, I want a higher education, somebody takes the time to learn a trade, you become a beautician or a barber, join the police force, join the military, be a trash man, be a teacher. These are credentials. These are things that you sat down, you studied at certain types of tests, you went through certain types of academies. These are things that you can be proud of, things that you can say, here's my resume. But I'm just noticing a constant medium. The people that are doing the most talking about the lead attorney have no real resume. They just have no real resume. It has nothing to do with college. I'm just saying, what are your credentials? What's your resume? Because if I was a lead attorney, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll just have a list and be like, okay, you call me out. What's your resume? You call me out. What's your resume? And I'm going to be honest with you, that's probably already going on. It's probably already going on. Hey, I don't watch your videos and you talk about nothing about your resume, nothing about what you've done in life and accomplished in life in reference to achievements. So let me ask you guys something in reference to YouTube. What is success on YouTube? Because YouTube can be an achievement as well. So what is successful to you guys on YouTube? What do you guys think success is on YouTube? Dazzle says, and his haters in the black woman narrative as called to, oh shit. Man, I wish I had a, I wish I had it, because every time I go to read the longer ones, it goes in and out. It goes in and out. Okay. Marcus G says, I'm proud of my resume and I see the lead attorney as a, God damn it, as a snake sale. You, and you know what? Marcus G, you're entitled to your opinion, man. It's only fair that I give you guys my point of view, right? So let me give you guys my point of view about the lead attorney. I think the lead attorney has found a niche and he works that niche very well. He understands that a lot of people are not used to dealing with lawyers in general. The only time you see a lawyer is when you've done something wrong or somebody's suing you, or, I mean, so now you get access to a lawyer. I mean, let's just be real. We have people that have come from other professions now on YouTube, and people have access to them. When you have access to something, some people are starstruck. Some people are saying, well, shit, let me get my questions in. Let me send $5 and ask my question. So I totally get what it is that you're saying. I see him as a guy that that's a lawyer, that's passing out some information. But again, that's how I see it. The rest of the shit he charging you for. I gave you a free consultation. I dropped a couple gems. If you want something else, you're gonna have to pay for this course. The shit I do ain't for free. Because you got to think about it. You wasn't there to help him study for the bar exam. Wasn't there to help him memorize these codes of law. You understand? So it's like a lot of times we as black people, we always want shit for free. You know what I'm saying? It's like always with the discount. Let me get the discount. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when you work and you put the time in, it's like, man, no, bro, you're gonna have to pay the full price like everybody else. And I think that's a part of the problem. Again, if the man says I'm gonna sit here for 4 or 5 hours and I'm gonna dissect this, or I'm gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, our response to that is, well, I think he's a sneaky salesman. I'm like, to be honest with you, up until recently, I think about maybe the last week or so, that's the first time I heard it. I heard him say anything about buying this course. That's the first time I heard him say anything about buying this course. Now, I do know a couple people who've done one-on-ones with them, and salute to them. You know what I'm saying? Where he's charged them a fee to do that or whatever. But rightfully so. Let me ask you guys something. If you're successful on YouTube and you say, you know what, I could give you guys the game for free. And I think he do be dropping gems here and there. Like he talked about a Patreon, he talked about some other stuff or whatever. But he was like, if you want a one-on-one with me, then that's going to cost you about $100, $200. Things for free. No, you need to give me all your secrets. Well, you already said the man be on YouTube for 8 hours. So why would he sit for an hour for you just to show you how to do X, Y, and Z? And I think if you listen long enough, you'll get, you know what I'm saying, the ins and outs of what he do. I think we're getting the conversation blurred with what's actually being talked about. The conversation is about, if you're going to call people out about their resume, then it is right for you to produce your resume. It's not about the manosphere. It's not about the womansphere. We've already identified, and if you knew the Tough Love, we've been identified. There's a lot of people and a lot of groups that are going at one another, and we definitely need to do better. We definitely need to do better. Yeah, I think he might be Uncle Stu, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to it, but I'm telling you, if you rewind this thing and just like, see, here's the thing. I think right now what's happening, and this is what we do a lot of times, we listen to respond. Nope. We don't listen to comprehend. We don't listen to understand. We listen to, like, I see people, like right now I'm seeing people talk about slavery. I'm seeing people talk about this and this and this, and you're missing the entire point of what I'm saying. I'm saying if I'm gonna call somebody out that has credentials, or they say they have credentials, it is only fair that I produce my credentials at the same time. That's what I'm saying. That's what this part of the video is about. Okay? That's what this video is about. So let's just say me and Marcus, like Marcus say, okay, hey, he has a bachelor's degree. Okay, I'm gonna say I got a master's degree from X, Y, and Z. You see what I'm saying? You're a certified electrician. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm a certified life coach. So we talk credentials, so we understand where we coming from. The principle of of what it is that you're saying based on the organization that you belong to, or the courses that you passed, or the exams that you took. You get an understanding for that, people. Because here's the thing, if I've never done anything at a higher level, I've never been challenged in reference to my point of view, I've never wrote a paper, I don't know how to formulate, sentences, I don't know what a thesis statement is. Like, it kind of puts you at how you need to communicate with the person based on their level of understanding. What type of challenges have you been through? It helps you set the mark for the conversation, where the bar should go for the conversation. Ira says, Tasha K doesn't need credentials for her career and business. So here's the thought process. Let's get into it. I'm glad you just said that, Ira. I don't think you were talking to me. You're probably talking to somebody else. So here's the thought process. Do you think that in order to be a celebrity reporter, you need to have a journalism degree? How many people think that? Ira says she's a blogger and a content creator on YouTube. Do me a favor, Ira. Do you guys think that in order to report on, like, R. Kelly and the all these other people, do you think that a journalism degree is needed? Yes or no? Ira says no. Look at Wendy Williams. Good point. When you guys make good point, I'm gonna acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna acknowledge it. I don't think you need a journalism degree. I think with certain things, some level of credentialing definitely helps, because it helps you understand, I think, the severity of your left and right margins. I think going to school, sitting down, saying, hey, these are the things that could happen to you, X, Y, and Z. These are the parameters of the law. I think it does keep you a little bit grounded, or whatever case may be. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Tasha K did take a journalism class, or she just, know how to report a story. But I think that, we for some reason, when we get to a certain age, we stop learning. We stop trying to challenge ourselves. Like, a lot of us as parents, we do a good job at saying, hey, before you go outside, you need to read a book. Before you go outside, you need to do this. And you need to do, like, we're always challenging our kids and pushing our kids to be better and be smarter and more creative. And for some reason, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's a couple people in the chat right now, right? What's the last book you read? And I ain't talking about no sex book. I ain't talking about no fantasy book. I'm saying, what's the last self-help or self-improvement book that you've read? I said, name your top 5 books that you've read, in the last 90 days. It'll be a lot of empty blanks in the goddamn chat room. Because here's the thing, us as adults, sometimes we do very little to challenge our individual self, but we want to challenge everybody else. And that's what this conversation is about. It's great that we want to say, lead attorney, what's your credentials? You sitting online, give us all this goddamn info. Who are you? But then rightfully so, he has the right to say, well, who are you? What's your credentials? And I don't think a lot of people are ready for that conversation. Just being honest with you. But I don't think there's a right and wrong here. I think it's all about perspective. I think it's all about how you view things based on your life experience and your education. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like nobody's better than anyone. I'm just saying to keep that in mind when you point at somebody's resume and you try to identify an outline, or you call out their resume, be prepared to show yours. That's fair. But let's get into the second part. The second part I wanted to talk about was Kevin Samuels and Nicki Minaj. So we shifting gears a little bit, because there was a lot of uproar. There was a lot of uproar about this Kevin Samuels and Nicki Minaj. I think he rated her as a 9. And I'm about to piss somebody off. So he rated her as a 9. Now, I always thought Nicki Minaj, before she became famous, I'm from New York as well. I always thought that she was a very beautiful woman. Always thought she was a very beautiful woman. I think that she's done some things to her, you know what I'm saying, to enhance her beauty based on the status level that she's reached. A lot of people was like, I'm gonna get into the Kevin Samuels part, but I really want to just talk about the exchange between Nicki Minaj and Kevin Samuels right now. A lot of people was like, why he ain't take her head off? He gaslighting. He a simp. It's like was going in. And I was sitting back because I really wanted to hear their point of view. And let me explain to you guys something, okay? Y'all laughing at me? No, let me explain something to you guys real quick. I feel like, hold on. You know, your boy. Okay, so let me explain something to you guys. Most of the females that Kevin Samuels talked to, okay, are average women, everyday women, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being an average woman, everyday working woman. So we're talking about teachers, we're talking about dentists, we're talking about entrepreneurs. Great, awesome. Nicki Minaj is not an average woman. Do you understand? So Kevin Samuels, and I'm gonna get a Kevin, if you're looking, pay attention, boy. Let me do it. Let me do this. Nicki Minaj is not, you can't just talk any type of shit to Nicki Minaj. You can't tell her what type of man she can't get. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Beyonce, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, you're not about to just say, well, you can't get this type of man. He can't come at her like that. He can sit there and try, but he can't come at her and say, well, you can't get this type of man, or the 1%er type of man, or high value man. Bullshit. Bullshit. So another thing was, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people just wanted, say, why did he rate her a 9 and blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the thought process, right? I'm not in his head. And I heard he was talking about the eyes, Asian, and I heard that, and that's his point of view, you know what I'm saying, or whatever case be. I don't think the woman's ugly at all. I think she's attractive. But the fact of the matter is, I feel like people wanted him to attack her. They wanted him to be like, oh yeah, just tell her off, give her the business. And I'm just like, bro, he can't talk to her regularly. He can't just be like, well, how much money do you make? More money than you? I mean, no disrespect, no shade, but I'm just saying, more money than you, and probably have access to more stars or more 1% of men than you. So he can't. What exactly do you want him to do? Like, what exactly conversation do you want him to have when? Oh, let me tell you who you can't get. You know what's so funny about the shit is that she don't even have to go get them. She can have her assistant go get the men. Like, I'm just being real. I'm just being real. I mean, how many people thought that Kevin Samuels could sit there and talk to Nicki Minaj like she was average at best? How many people thought? If you thought that he could sit there and say, well, let me just break you down real quick, Nicki. Now, I'm going to tell you where I think he could have got her at. I'm going to tell you where I think he could have got her at, but I want to see what the chat says. I want to see what the chat, Missy, I want to see what you says. I Rise, Marcus, Uncle L. I want to see what you guys say. Do you feel like Kevin Samuels was in a position to break Nicki Minaj down? Money-wise, being high value, etc., etc., etc. I Rise says, he is quiet. He is quite humbled in the presence of a powerful woman. I think there's validity to that, I Rise. I think there's validity to that statement. And even if it's not humbled, he understands who he's dealing with. I'm just being real. I'm being fair. I'm trying to be fair down there. He understands that, bro, this is not just any woman I'm talking to online. This is a woman who has access to X, Y, and Z, and may have more access than him. I'm just Nicki Minaj she been hot for a minute. You see what I'm saying? Whereas Kevin Samuels is very prominent on YouTube. Nicki is prominent in the world. – 'cause 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 'c You have to recognize the type of conversation you need to have. I notice that people do that though. Let's say like, you know, you'll have a lot of energy, right? Say you talking to this person, you got a lot of energy for this person, but then when you talk to this person, you kind of chill and laid back because it's a different conversation. Different energy for different people, different conversations for different people. And that's why I'm saying there's no need to turn up. There's no need to tell you about X, Y, and Z because you got A through Z. We can have a conversation though. I don't think that he was in a position to do anything, but I'm gonna point out something. Uncle Stu, what do you think about this? I don't know if you covered this or not, but I'm kind of curious about, you know what I'm saying? Yep, who gives a damn what he thinks? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she probably would have been respectful to a certain extent, but I don't think that he was going to sit there and say, Nicki Minaj, you can't get a high value man. Let me drink this water. Y'all want some? Yeah, I got another bottle for y'all if y'all want some. I just don't think. Who said that? Hold on, I just seen somebody say it. Ira says, yes, very strategic. I believe so. I believe so. You're not, first of all, she's a high profile guest. You're gonna act accordingly. And I'm not saying he's scared. I'm not saying, oh my God, he's shivering and shaking and shit, or he gaslighting or simping. No, he understands who he talking to. I'm not talking to a YouTuber. I'm not talking to, you know, somebody that owns a little small mom and pop shop. I'm not talking to, you know, a regular doctor with a small practice. I'm talking to someone who has access and network ability, who has a monetary value that is up there, that has status. So of course I'm gonna pipe down. It's not even about piping down. It's like the conversation is going to be chill, a chill vibe. Like I'm just talking to, you know, I'm talking to somebody. Hey, well, okay, cool. What's up? All right. Yeah. All right. It ain't gonna be like, let me tell you X, Y, and Z. See, the thing about it is, this is what you guys got to understand. Matter of fact, Uncle Stu, what is that lady name, Uncle Stu, that was on your show yesterday? The lady on your show said this. People are calling in seeking validation that they should already have. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. They calling into these shows to talk to these men and women to seek validation and affirmation that they should already have within themselves, but don't know their worth. Or they're calling in hoping to be the one person that says, I changed their mind. Lauren Melissa. Yep, she said it. A lot of these men are calling into shows. A lot of these women are calling into shows, trying to get this validation, trying to get this, well, like, bro, you should already have that. And that's why I said it's so many people upset with Kevin Samuels. And again, I'm not an advocate, like an advocate follower of Kevin Samuels. Like, I don't advocate follow anybody. You know what's so funny? I pay attention to people like Uncle Stu, Jada LaRue, Ricky Manor. I pay attention to content creators who I feel like we have a common denominator. So when you are a bigger content creator, I really don't pay attention to you that much unless somebody, you know, makes it, you know, brings it to my attention. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of people are mad at Kevin Samuels, but they're not mad at the people calling Kevin Samuels, seeking validation or affirmation or some type of guidance. And the thought process is, why don't these men and women have their support system intact? That's the real conversation. That's the real conversation. Why don't you have men and women to your left and right that can tell you the things that you're seeking from the godfather of the manosphere? I'm going to get mad at Kevin for how he responds to that woman. He didn't have to talk to that woman like that. How dare he talk? First of all, why didn't she already have that sense of confidence before she called? Why didn't she already say, you know what, I don't even need to call. I can talk to my father. I can talk to my mentor. I can talk to the men that's in my community. For some reason, people feel like people have access to people and they don't. So they reach out to Kevin Samuels like, hey, what do you think about me? Based on me. And here's the issue, and I'm going to get back to another point that I wanted to make earlier about Nicki Minaj. When they get to talking, everybody's outlining their resume, right? We talked about resumes. Everybody's outlining their resumes. Oh, I got this. I've accomplished this. I have I'm not going to exaggerate like that. I have 2 degrees. I have my own house. I have my own business. I make over 6 figures. But I have 0 personality. I have 0 self-respect. I have 0 understanding. I'm materialistic. So when he gets to pointing that shit out, you know what I mean? And then the comeback is, well, who are you to tell me I don't know my worth? Well, you don't. And then when they get to that into that banter, it's like every woman that says, well, I also have 2 degrees. I also have my own home. I also make 6 figures. They start feeling like they sitting in that seat. So now it's like, in order to combat what Kevin Samuels says, hey, y'all, we don't like Kevin no more. How dare he talk to that woman like that? Look at how he disrespecting that woman. What they really mean is, look at how he would have disrespected my ass because I would have gave the same answers. He's saying she's self-centered. No, he's really saying you self-centered. That's how she's taking it. You ever notice that when people talk about Kevin Samuels and the lead attorney, like they're talking about the man as if he's personally said something to her, like he spoke directly to her soul. I'm trying to be fair, y'all. I'm trying to be fair. Now, there's some things about, Kevin Samuels. There's some things about content creators. But I'm just trying to be fair. I just noticed a certain pattern with certain people. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Rise says, I don't know if this is for me, but I'm gonna read it, right? Right, but we have fatherless homes that create men and women that don't have the necessary validation. Man, I got some smart people up in here today, boy. You got to give people their flowers and they standing ovations. Well, sitting ovations, right? You exactly right. There is no need to call Kevin Samuels unless you're about to have the conversation that needs to be had. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I know my worth. I make X, Y, and Z. I make good money. I'm educated. I'm this, and this, and this, and this. My thing about it is, let me look into the camera real quick. That you show a person that you don't know your worth, they're going to say you need to know your worth. The second that you show a person that you have 0 integrity, they're going to say that you need to have integrity. The second that you show a person that you're self-centered and materialistic, they're going to say that. It don't matter how many other accolades you got if your resume is not complete. That's the problem. You're applying for a position thinking, well, I got all of the big stuff. Okay, you got 1 through 5, but it's 10 things on the resume. And it's like it's a pattern. I got a good job. I'm educated. I make over 6 figures. I feel, oh, can you rate me real quick? You calling into a show to get rated? Why is Kevin Samuels the epitome of first of all, how you know he like light-skinned women? How you know he like short women? How you know he like fat women? How you know he like tall women? The thought process is, and the fact of the matter is, you're seeking validation from someone you don't know, someone that you're not in position to date. The person that needs to be telling or giving you this rating, so to speak, is a person you're interested in. And of course, you're not going to sit down and say, rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. You're going to sit down with them and you're going to have a conversation. To me, that's what Kevin Samuels represents. He represents having a conversation. When you can have a conversation and you present yourself in a fashion like this person is well-rounded. They can have a conversation. They're not overly emotional. They're not overly aggressive. They can agree to disagree. They're accomplished. They're established. They're courageous. They're articulate. When you can sit down and do those things, you send off that beacon. Like, whoo, I'm talking to a grown woman. I'm talking to a grown man. It's a different situation. And though we know that Nicki Minaj is up there, she's not the average person that comes on his shows. The thought process is, how many women come on there and really represent something that men are looking for? I'm not coming on your show to seek validation, Mr. Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? I'm already validated. You understand what I'm saying? He's validated. You don't need him to validate. And if they make it, they make it. I'm just coming to have a conversation with you. I thought it would be a refreshing conversation to talk to you. So once you lay out your credentials, don't lay out the first 3 and be like, we should be impressed. No, you should be impressed. Those are accolades that you wanted to accomplish or you achieved. Those are goals that you set and benchmarks that you set for your individual life. Everybody don't give a shit about your degree. Everybody don't care about how much money you make. Everybody don't care if you got, oh, well, I ain't got no kids, so that makes me, okay. 1 through 10, not 1 through 5, 1 through 10. And it's not about boasting about 1 through 10. It's about doing your conversation. All those things will be revealed. A lot of people, for some reason, the first thing they want to do is give you their checklist of accomplishments. During our conversation, that checklist is going to be revealed. During that conversation, I'm going to understand you know your worth. You know your worth. You value yourself. How you talk, how you act, how you respond, you value yourself. And that's what's going to be attractive. That's what's going to build that personal and professional relationship. But when you go seeking validation and you don't get the hug that you want, you get the tough love. It's like, oh, hell no, cancel this motherfucker. Get him out of here. For real. You don't get that hug you was looking for. You don't get them goddamn soft kisses. You get that kick in the ass. Like, get the hell up out of here. Now, I don't necessarily agree, certain tactics, but sometimes you do need somebody that's gonna, raw and uncut with no chaser. And I just believe that, because there's a lot of people right now living in delusion. You can't sit with a man that's accomplished and say, well, you should praise in my accomplishments. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm accomplished too. Can you imagine sitting down with I'm gonna talk to the fellas real quick, ladies. I'm gonna be with you in 1 second. You go on a date or whatever case mean. You sitting there, whatever case mean. You're established. Your credit's good. You got money in the, you know what I'm saying? Everything in your life is where it needs to be in order for you to be, I'm successful, right? You're confident, you work out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you sit down with a woman. And she sits down and she says, well, I make over 6 figures and I got 2 degrees. And she starts running down her resume. How long is that conversation going to last? Or are you going to tune her out? Be like, man, I just want to hit. I'm just going to go ahead and, I'm just going to sit through this. Yeah, this is going to be a one night stand. I can already tell she's annoying. Okay, now let me get to the ladies, fellas. Step aside. You on a date. Man shows up or whatever case mean, he's running down his resume, blah. And it's like, well, I ain't even asked you all that. I just wanted to have a regular conversation, and throughout that conversation, we was gonna get certain things. But you're kind of like throwing this resume in my face, and it's just like, well, to be honest with you, I was trying to get to know you, but not in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should be impressed that you have 2 degrees. Well, I can't have sex with your 2 degrees. I can't conversate. Your 2 degrees ain't gonna hold me at night. Your two degrees ain't gonna, give me the support that I need when I'm trying to open up a business, when I'm trying to travel. So it's like, right now, talking about your degrees is irrelevant. Ira says, would you have your daughters listen to Kevin Samuels? I'm the Kevin Samuels for my daughters. Now, if they stumble across some, cool, but I can almost guarantee you that based on the conversations that we have, Kevin Samuels is not going to shake them. I can guarantee you that when they go on there, they're not going to be playing with their phones. That they're going to be able to have a conversation, have some dialogue, agree to disagree. You see what I'm saying? And I think that people haven't really figured out Kevin Samuels yet. But the process is, think of it as you're going in for a job interview, right? But you want the job interview to flow. Right away, you don't have to present your resume. You are your resume, your look, how you answer questions, your eye contact, your body language, or your posture. Are you sitting down in the chair or are you sitting up? Are you fidgety? Are you moving your hands? Are you kind of all over the place? Or are you there in the moment? Kevin Samuels is identifying all of these things when you call on that video. He's identifying these things and he's pinpointing certain details. And because you've never had anyone pinpoint those details before, you've never had that type of conversation, it makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. Come here real quick. Come here. Everybody come here. Everybody come here. Come here! But if you're really confident, if you've really been having those type of conversations, no man or woman will make you feel uncomfortable about you. When a person makes you feel uncomfortable about you, you never really knew your worth. You was raised without a father. Shout out to Monty. I'm just saying, man, when you need somebody else to validate you, and you know, that's why I said, man, forget the gifts, forget, you know what I'm saying, all of it. Like I used to tell my soldiers when we was in the military, I had a soldier tell me, I can't run without music in my ear, Sarge. I can't without music in my ear, Chief. I was like, what happens when you ain't got the music? What happens when you ain't got something or somebody else to hype you up, and you only can rely on yourself? You don't need a gimmick. You don't need somebody hyping you up. And I talk about this here on this Tough Love page. This is a problem. We always need somebody else to tag team and to hype us up, to get us pumped up. And the thought process is pump yourself up. Hype yourself up. Stop saying you are the shit and be the shit. It sounds good. I'm the shit. I'm a savage. I'm a boss. I'm a bad bitch. And it's like, oh, it sounds good in theory. But every single time you're put to the test, whether it's conversation or just showing your work, it's zero. It's zero. You're nervous. You upset. You screaming. You hollering. You cursing somebody else. You joking. I've seen a lot of men and a lot of women falter because they lack, one, standards, they lack accountability, and they've never been challenged in that shit. So the first thing they do is, well, let me hurry up and get you up out of here. Let me hurry up and get away from you, because I'm not used to anybody talking to me like that. So when you meet Kevin Samuels or you're sitting there having this conversation or this dialogue, you immediately go into this, either this little kid mode or this major defensive mode. How many people have you seen that just really come, or are they really just trying to prove themselves? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mario J. This is Tough Love. Until next time, a daughter, I appreciate it. How do you think we can address our issues on the black community? Hey, don't let me, hold on, let me stop. Let me pause real quick. That's a great question. He or she says, how do you think we can address our issues in the black community? Listen. Don't be so quick to reply. And don't listen like this. Oh yeah, go ahead and talk. Shit, I'm tired of hearing this bullshit. Every day I gotta hear the same fucking shit. Don't listen like that. Listen attentively. Listen sitting up. Listen paying attention. Listen with a goddamn piece of paper and a pen. Like, okay, go ahead. All right, I want to write down your issue so that way I don't forget, because I'm not going to remember everything you say, but I just want to at least jot it down or whatever case it be. Listen with sincerity. When you find platforms that are having those conversations with men and women, and they're listening to one another, sincerity, like I seen Uncle Stu and Melissa, I'm sorry if I'm messing her name up. They're listening to one another with sincerity. The conversation is flowing. There's an equal sway of thoughts. There's an equal sway of questioning and responses. It's not, well, I need to outdo you. I need to blame you, black women do. I need to blame you for what black men do. We all know that there's some issues between black men and women. We know it. And as soon as we get to the table, we start regurgitating everything we know, instead of saying, well, what's the solution? How many people come to the table and say, we already know the bad stuff. What's the solution? And I'm not just putting the solution on you. A lot of times we talk about we bring to the table. And just here recently, I said, no. I said, you might be the table. You are the table. But I really want to, let's rewind a little bit. Let's say what we bring to the table is solutions. So many conversations being had about so many things. When you start getting to the solution part, for some reason we run out of time. We don't got the right people sitting down having a conversation. So many egos involved. And then so many people jump on the defensive, and then depending on who we like in the conversation, now it's like us against you or you against us. And I think that's the issue. The issue is that we are too busy tag teaming one another for clicks and views, for likes and donations, and you can't get to a realistic conversation with a woman or with the man that you've had a disagreement or discord with. So we're at odds. So anybody we find with a good mouthpiece, and what I mean by a good mouthpiece, that means this person is articulate enough they can stand up, or this person will curse you out in a drop of a dime, so we're going to put them at the seat. Now here's the thought process. You put the person that's articulate, that can sit down and get their point of view across without cursing and fussing, and then you go get the person that you think can stand up for you, and they curse people out all the time. That is not going to be a conversation. That's a death match. We put the wrong people at the table to have the conversation. We make the wrong people our leaders for the community. We make the wrong people our spokesperson on social media. Just because you're popular don't mean you're a leader. I'm hoping that I answered your questions. I got to get up out of here, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Thank you guys for your time. I'm hoping that you understand my perspective. To all the content creators that kind of talk about these two men, I'm hoping that I'm adding more to the equation, to something a little bit different in reference to perspective. But salute to you guys. Until next time, my daughter. Peace.